Commander Zara Veltar stood on the bridge of her warship, watching the small human vessel drift through space. Her purple eyes gleamed with confidence as she studied the primitive craft. The humans called it the Star Runner, and it carried only 5 crew members, easy prey for her advanced Cytherian fleet. "Commander, the human ship is responding to our demands," reported her tactical officer. "They claim they have valuable cargo and wish to negotiate." Zara smiled, showing her sharp teeth. She had dealt with humans before. They were weak, emotional creatures who always tried to bargain when faced with superior force. Her people had been conquering worlds for centuries while humans were still learning to fly between stars. "Open a channel," she commanded. "Let me speak to their captain." The view screen flickered, showing a human male with brown hair and calm blue eyes. He wore a simple uniform and seemed completely unafraid. This surprised Zara slightly, but she dismissed it as human stupidity. "I am Commander Zara Veltar of the Cytherian Empire," she announced. "You will surrender your cargo and submit to boarding, or we will destroy your ship." The human captain smiled politely. "I'm Captain John Blake of the Star Runner. I understand your position, Commander. However, I have a proposal that might interest you more than simple cargo." Zara laughed, a sound like breaking glass. Humans and their proposals. What could you possibly offer that would interest the Cytherian Empire? "Information," Blake replied simply. "We know where the human fleet is gathering. We know their plans, their weaknesses. Surely that's worth more than a few boxes of supplies." This caught Zara's attention. Intelligence about human military movements was indeed valuable. Her superiors would reward her greatly for such information. She studied Blake's face carefully, looking for signs of deception. "Why would you betray your own kind?" she asked suspiciously. Blake shrugged. "Credits. My crew needs to eat, and the human government doesn't pay well. Your empire, however, rewards those who serve it faithfully." Zara considered this. She had heard of human mercenaries before. Their greed often overcame their loyalty. It was another weakness of their species. Still, she needed to be careful. Humans were known for their tricks. "Very well," she decided. "You will beam aboard my ship to discuss terms. Come alone and unarmed." "Understood, Commander." 30 minutes later, Captain Blake materialized in Zara's transport chamber. He looked around casually, showing no fear of the alien environment. 2 Cytherian guards flanked him, their energy weapons ready. Zara studied him from her command chair. Blake was taller than most humans she had encountered, with a confident bearing that irritated her slightly. Humans should cower before Cytherian might, not stand so calmly. "Show me what you have to offer," she demanded. Blake reached slowly into his jacket and withdrew a small data pad. The guards tensed, but he made no threatening moves. "Fleet positions, supply routes, defensive capabilities. Everything you need to crush the human resistance in this sector." Zara took the device and scanned its contents. The information appeared genuine and incredibly detailed. Ship types, crew numbers, weapons specifications, it was exactly what her fleet needed. Perhaps this human was more useful than she had thought. "Impressive," she admitted. "But how do I know this information is accurate?" "Test it," Blake suggested. "Pick one location from that data and send a scout ship. You'll find everything exactly as described." Zara smiled coldly. "I have a better idea. If this information proves false, I'll personally execute you and your crew. If it's accurate, you'll be rewarded as promised." "Fair enough," Blake agreed without hesitation. Over the next several hours, Zara's fleet moved to intercept a human supply convoy based on Blake's intelligence. Everything unfolded exactly as predicted. 3 cargo ships, minimal escorts, following the precise route outlined in the data. Her forces captured the convoy without firing a shot. Returning to her flagship, Zara felt pleased with herself. She had gained valuable intelligence and supplies while barely expending any resources. The human captain had proven surprisingly useful. "Your information was accurate," she told Blake when he was brought back to her chambers. "My superiors will be most pleased." "I aim to serve," Blake replied with that same calm smile. "Indeed, I have another proposition for you. My fleet is planning a major assault on the human colony of New Terra. Your inside knowledge could ensure complete victory." Blake nodded slowly. "New Terra is heavily fortified. You'll need detailed plans of their defense grid. Can you obtain them?" "For the right price, yes. But I'll need access to human communication networks. A small ship, perhaps, to make contact with my sources." Zara considered this carefully. It was risky to let Blake leave, but the potential rewards were enormous. New Terra was a major human stronghold. Its capture would make her a hero of the Empire. Very well, she decided. You may take your ship, but it will be escorted by my destroyers. Any attempt to flee or warn your people will result in immediate destruction. Understood, Commander. Blake returned to the Star Runner under heavy guard. Zara watched from her bridge as the small human vessel departed, flanked by 2 Cytherian destroyers. She felt confident in her decision. The human was clearly motivated by greed, and her escorts would prevent any betrayal. 3 days later, Blake returned with promised intelligence about New Terra's defenses. The data was even more comprehensive than before, showing every shield generator, weapon platform, and patrol route. Zara studied it eagerly, already imagining her triumph. Excellent work, she praised Blake. With this information, New Terra will fall within hours. There is one more thing, Blake said quietly. The colony has a new defensive system, something my sources called Project Firewall. I couldn't get complete details, but it apparently makes their shields much stronger. Zara frowned. How much stronger? Unknown. But my contact seemed worried about it. He suggested waiting until they complete system testing before attacking. Nonsense, Zara declared. No human technology can withstand Cytherian firepower. We attack in 12 hours, Blake nodded. As you wish, Commander. I assume my payment will be transferred after the victory. Of course. You've earned it. The Cytherian fleet moved into position around New Terra under cover of darkness. Zara's warships surrounded the colony while smaller vessels prepared boarding parties. Everything was proceeding perfectly according to plan. Commander, her tactical officer reported. All ships are in position. The colony appears unaware of our presence. Zara stood proudly on her bridge. Begin the attack. Target their shield generators first, then their weapon platforms. Energy beams lanced out from dozens of Cytherian ships, striking New Terra's defensive installations. But instead of collapsing, the colony's shields flared brighter. The human defenses not only held but seemed to be absorbing the incoming fire. Impossible, Zara breathed. Increase power to maximum. Her fleet poured everything they had into the assault, but New Terra's shields continued to strengthen. Worse, the colony's weapon platforms were now returning fire with devastating accuracy. Cytherian ships began exploding around the colony as human weapons found their targets. Commander, we're taking heavy losses, her tactical officer reported frantically. Their weapons are cutting through our shields like paper. Zara stared in shock as her mighty fleet was systematically destroyed. This wasn't possible. Human technology was primitive compared to Cytherian science. How could they be losing? It's a trap, she realized suddenly. That human betrayed us, but it was too late. New Terra's defenses had been carefully planned to lure attacking forces into a killing zone. The colony's apparent weakness was an illusion, designed to draw enemies close enough for their new weapons to be most effective. On the Star Runner, Captain Blake watched the battle from a safe distance. His crew worked efficiently at their stations, coordinating with New Terra's defense forces. All Cytherian command ships identified and targeted, reported his weapons officer, a woman named Lisa Park. The colony's systems are tracking them perfectly. Excellent work. Lisa, how long until their fleet is neutralized? Another 10 minutes, Captain. Their formation is completely broken. Blake nodded with satisfaction. The plan had worked perfectly. By pretending to be a traitor, he had gained access to the Cytherian fleet and provided New Terra with detailed information about enemy capabilities and positions. The aliens thought they were using him, but he had been using them all along. Commander Zara watched helplessly as her flagship systems failed around her. Emergency lights bathed the bridge in red as explosions rocked the ship. Her dreams of glory had become a nightmare of defeat. Commander, we must abandon ship, her tactical officer urged. The reactor is critical. Zara realized she had been completely outmaneuvered. The human captain had played her perfectly, feeding her exactly what she wanted to hear while gathering intelligence for his own people. Her arrogance and assumptions about human weakness had blinded her to the truth. Prepare escape pods, she ordered reluctantly. Signal fleet-wide retreat. But there would be no retreat for most of her ships. New Terra's defenses had been designed to prevent exactly that. The few Cytherian vessels that escaped carried news of devastating defeat back to the Empire. Blake received a transmission from New Terra as the last enemy ships.